So, good afternoon, students. Welcome to the session on this performance evaluation of mutual funds. In the previous session, we discussed what is the relevance of performance evaluation of mutual funds and the different techniques of doing the performance evaluation. So, just quickly, I'll review it and we'll go for the further ratios, further indices, and then we'll take up one example in the today's session. So when we take up mutual funds, so these are the asset classes wherein you can invest based upon your future wealth cycle and future financial planning as such. But we have got so many mutual funds in the market, and there are different tools to evaluate its performance for a better selection. So the performance evaluation of mutual fund is done in order to identify the best performing mutual fund schemes in the market. And we have got basic or the most commonly followed standards called as Sharpe and the trainers. And along with it, we have got information ratio, appraisal ratio, risk adjusted performance ratio. All these advanced or latest ratios also we have got. So we'll have a look at it and we'll consider its relevance in the selection of it. So these are the assumptions which we follow while doing this performance evaluation analysis, and as it is applicable to most of the financial models as such. So investors are risk averse, so it means they want to maximize the wealth if they take up the risk. And all investors have identical decision horizon and homogeneous expectations. So when we take investment, their main expectation is to have better returns. Then investors can select portfolio solely on the basis of expected returns and the variance of it. So it is all about the risk return ratio. All transactions are cost and tax free, and all assets are definitely divisible. So these are the assumptions what we follow across all the financial models, and its relevance is considered on case by case analysis on the asset classes. So moving further, we have got this Sharpe's ratio. Now basically, Sharpe's ratio is a relative measure of risk premium to the total risk what we have considered. So a Sharpe ratio is expressed in this way, that is the portfolio return, that is RP, minus the risk-free rate RF, and divided by the standard deviation of P, that is the portfolio risk. So this is the equation we have got, and it is a relative measure, and it considers the total risk of your overall asset classes. Moving further, we have got Rayner's ratio. Now here we have made a change. So it is not that total risk is always considered, because when we consider portfolio, our main assumption and our main intention is to minimize the risk, and we can minimize the risk to a great extent. And in order to do that, the trainer ratio is devised wherein your risk premium is compared with the systematic risk or the beta of your mutual fund. Because when we take up the total risk, we have got systematic risk and we have got non-systematic risk, and the portfolio is created to diversify, and diversification means you're trying to reduce the risk. So as far as possible, you try to reduce the risk of your portfolio, and you try to compare only with that risk which we cannot eliminate or take it out from your asset classes. So this is what the improvement trainers has done it on this equation. So we'll do the interpretation accordingly. Now here, when we do the Sharpe's ratio or even the trainer's ratio, what we'll have to look at it, we have to look at this thing. So when we consider the higher the Sharpe ratio when compared to other mutual fund, the better fund return related to the amount of risk what we have taken, because it is a relative measure. Similarly, higher the trainer ratio shows higher return and lesser market risk for the fund. So when we compare today, as we're going to do it, we'll try to identify which mutual fund should be rated uh, the higher preference and priority and the higher rank as such. So this is with respect to Sharpe and the trainer. The standard deviation and the beta. So these are the important terms what we use in our financial literature. And standard deviation explains the total risk. And obviously, what we have understood with our statistical and mathematical understanding, lower the standard deviation, better is the outcome, because lower the standard deviation means it will be near to the mean, and that is where the variance factor will come into action. Beta, as we said, it is a systematic risk, and beta has got three interpretations. The beta value would be more, that is greater than 1 means high risk. If it is equal to 1, then it is average, and if it is less than 1 means it is low risky. Some other people, they say beta greater than 1 means aggressive, and beta less than 1 means defensive. So the different terms and the different nomenclature what we use, but ultimately beta explains the systematic risk which we cannot eliminate by way of diversification or any portfolio construction to optimal level that will be inevitably be present in the asset classes. So considering this, we shall move further with this additional ratios what we have got it. So now information ratio or IR. So this ratio is further revision on our earlier discussion. In the previous two ratios, we considered only the risk-free rate, because we wanted to compare what would be our risk premium. But in the market, even we have got different asset classes with portfolio principle, and if they are better off, then obviously this information ratio will play important role into it. So again, here we try to compare our portfolio return with the market return. So RP is your portfolio or mutual fund return, and RM is your market return. That is the benchmark against which we are trying to compare our portfolio or mutual fund. And obviously, we try to take up the difference of portfolio risk, portfolio return, and market return, and we try to compare it with the standard deviation. So again, this is a relative measure, but here instead of risk-free rate, we are taking the risky market return, and it will be more practical, and that is the reason the term or the nomenclature is information ratio, because we presume in our assumptions market is well informed, but there might be a situation wherein the market would not have got the information what a wise investor has got, and that is the reason we tend to get this information ratio in our discussion on specific occasion. The next is all about the Sortino ratio, and this is again the improved version of our Sharpe's ratio over here. What is the Sortino ratio? The Sortino ratio takes an asset or portfolio's return and subtracts the risk-free rate, and obviously divides with the total asset risk with the downside deviation. In case of Sharpe, what did he do? He took standard deviation, the total risk as such, because your standard deviation has got two outcomes. It may be going up or it may be coming down, or it is plus or minus. But what Sortino did, he did refer to only downside. Whenever our portfolio is going to go down, to what extent it would vary or it would have the variance. So Sortino ratio focuses only on the negative deviation of a portfolio's return from the mean. It is thought to give a better view of portfolio's risk adjusted performance, since positive volatility is a beneficial, because we presume if your returns are going on the upper side, obviously that marginal risk will pay off that metrics, and that is what the Sortino has considered in his regard. So we move further with the equation, and we try to consider how is it constructed. So a Sortino ratio is again relative measure, wherein RP is your portfolio or expected return from your mutual fund. RF is a risk-free rate, and sigma D is nothing but standard deviation of the downside. So here why the D is brought in, because you're only considering the negative standard deviation, or you're trying to consider only the downside risk applicable to the portfolio, and that is more relevant when it comes to your performance evaluation, because when the market is moving upward, then obviously all asset classes would be performing at the optimal level. But as we go along, and when the market starts showing a declining trend, then the assets would not perform in a tandem and in a consistent manner. So in that regard, the negative downside risk is very essential in order to know and describe its practical feasibility as such. So this is the Sortino ratio what we have come across, and we shall be doing certain calculations on it, and we'll try to get the actual meaning and interpretation of it. The next is RAP or M2, that is M square measure. This RAP is nothing but a risk adjusted performance, or it is M2 or M square is nothing but Modigliani and Modigliani, because this measure was developed by Franco Modigliani and Lei Modigliani in 1997. And the RAP is nothing but a risk adjusted performance of a fund uh, be calculated by multiplying the Sharpe ratio with the market standard deviation taken as a benchmark. So in this case, what we are trying to do, we are trying to bring in additional parameters. We are trying to bring in those extraneous or moderating things which will affect your performance. So this measure indicates the return that a particular fund should earn if it had risk equal to the market risk. So we did discuss trainer's ratio. It deals with the beta, that is the systematic risk, and it tried to proxy it. But making proxy is having its own advantages as well as limitations, and that is the reason this RAP, that is the risk adjusted performance measure, was brought in order to describe, in order to elicit how our risky asset as compared to the risky market is doing, and if our asset is well diversified and it is having a capability of managing or adjusting to the risk, then obviously the performance will be better than the market. And that is the reason many a times when we compare in the long run, our mutual funds have given better return than the individual equity stocks, or even to that extent the index funds as such. So this is what we'll have to know. Now this is given likewise. So this your RAP, that is risk adjusted performance, is equal to, so this sigma m is nothing but the standard deviation of your market risk, that is the total market risk, divided by our portfolio risk, or the portfolio total risk in the form of sigma p, and whatever relative ratio you get, that you multiply with your risk premium, that is rp minus rf, and finally you add up the risk free rate to it in order to make it more comparable and more realistic. So if you take this equation, RAP is equal to sigma m divided by sigma p into bracket of RP minus RF bracket close plus RF. So sigma m, standard deviation of the market returns and the market risk. The standard deviation of your portfolio returns, that is the risk of your portfolio. RP the return on the portfolio, RF is the risk free rate. So as we discussed even earlier in your Sharpe's ratio, your risk free rate would be treasury bill of 91 days or 182 days, or else even you can consider the bank fixed deposit rate of 1 year. Usually in India, we consider FD rate, but in the international and Western countries, they take up the treasury bill because that is more common in those banking sectors as such. So this is what the risk adjusted performance ratio is all about. The above equation indicates that if a fund faced a higher risk as compared to the market and earned lower return, then it is a poor performer and vice versa. So we have to understand, because our asset class is risky, and what amount of risk is bearable. And it is said, if the higher risk is compensating you with a higher return, then it is better performer. But in spite of taking higher risk, if the return is same or lower than the what expected, then it is a poor performer of your mutual fund. So this is how they have given it for the reference. So the two Modiglianis claim that this ratio is easy to interpret as it results in percentages, and it enables to know that by how many percentages a fund has performed well as compared to its other competitors. So this is again a relative measure, and that is the reason they have considered the market total risk, the portfolio total risk, and they have compared with the risk premium. And along with it, they have also given you the risk free rate just to add up as a base for compensating your asset class allocation as such. So this is regarding the risk adjusted portfolio. Now, in this regard, we are not comparing beta of market, not beta of your asset class, but we are comparing the total risk. And why is it? Because when we take up the risk adjusted performance, or when we take up the risk adjusted return, it is with respect to total risk, not with respect to only systematic risk. And that is the reason this equation was brought into context by these two gentlemen. Further going, the Pharma's performance measure. This measure is elaborative and not uh, commonly used by the investors in the retail category, but the institutional or large investors, they try to vary on all the parameters how their mutual fund has performed, and how do we do, and why it is required, because selectivity and diversification. So you have got so many mutual funds in the market, and if you don't select a better one, then obviously your portfolio will not be better diversified. So this measure was designed by Eugene Farmer. His measure enable not only to capture the overall performance of a portfolio, but he also decompose this performance into finer dimensions of net selectivity and the diversification. So as we said, this is what his context and argument was there. Superior performance is due to the superior selection liabilities of the manager and the extent of diversification of achieved. So this is what he is saying, because ultimately we have got information, we have got assets in the market, but it is our own understanding, it is our own knowledge and our intellectual capability that will make us better than the rest. And there lies, he said, selectivity and diversification matters. And both, when we do optimally logically, you create a better fund for yourself for the wealth maximization. So we'll just look at this equation. We may not have any application in the theory or in the examination, but for the sake of our knowledge and our extended understanding, we are trying to consider this equation. So we have got farmers performance measure, and we have got certain important aspects into it. So a reward for systematic risk is the first term what we have used. A reward for systematic risk, then reward for low diversification, then the net selectivity. So when we bring all together, it is the selectivity. And if it is done correctly, then the overall performance will not be going down, but it will be going up. And how is it evaluated? How is it analyzed? It is with these three ratios. So you have to have a reward for the risk you have taken, that is the systematic risk you have taken. Then you need to reward for the low diversification. So if you don't diversify well, then obviously your risk cannot be mitigated to a large extent. And then the net selectivity will bring in your ability to choose best among the rest. And all these parameters will give the overall performance. So this is how the farmer's performance measure is employed, and it is most commonly used by your institutional investors. It is mostly used by your AMC managers when they construct the portfolio. But the common retail investor may not have any application unless otherwise the data and practical feasibility is analyzed. So this is the farmer's performance measure related to the mutual fund. Well, we have come across more than six performance measures, and all these measures have got their own limitation, they have got their own advantages, and in the given financial literature, they have been given importance weightage at times, and they have validated their relevance accordingly. So what we will do, we'll try to take up exercise on this performance evaluation analysis. And what we will do in the first introductory session, we'll try to only develop the Sharpe ratio or index and the trainers index or the ratio. And gradually we will go ahead with the other ratios what we have discussed in the previous session as well as in the today's session. So I'll take you through the exercise on your mutual fund evaluation. And this mutual fund evaluation is easy enough for us because we'll be given all the ready-made inputs. Only thing we'll have to remember which method they have used and what is the equation for it. And ultimately, with the basics of mathematics and basics of statistical or numerics, you could able to make it. So we'll just read what the data they have given, and accordingly we'll start making it. So we have been given this exercise on mutual fund performance evaluation. So we have got a table wherein the table has given all the inputs. So we have got AMC, asset management company. So we have got three AMCs: SBI mutual fund, SDFC mutual fund, and ICICI mutual fund. So these three are the AMCs. Then we have got RP, that is the return on the portfolio. It is not a risk portfolio, it is a return on the portfolio. So it is 12.07 for SBI. For SDFC, it is 13.02. For ICICI mutual fund, it is 10.45. So these are the three mutual funds we have taken for the illustrative example. Now moving further, so RP is nothing but the return on a portfolio, which is described here. The next is standard deviation of your portfolio, that is sigma P. We have been given the data directly, so there is no need of any basic calculation as such, but you need to know how do we arrive at it. And I think later in the class we shall discuss about its actual computation and relevance. So standard deviation of your portfolio is given, that is 9.42 for your SBI mutual fund, 8.91 for your HDFC, and 7.05 for your ICICI. So this is with respect to the total risk, that is the standard deviation. The next is beta P, that is the systematic risk, or the risk applicable to your respective portfolio against the market. So again, BPP. So what is the first? So here the first observation is for SBI, and the beta value is 1.02, and the second is SDFC. It is 1.13, and ICICI MF is 0.93. So considering the beta value, so we may presume two mutual funds are aggressive because they have got beta value more than one, and one fund is defensive because the beta value is less than 1. So lastly, we have been given the RF, that is the risk-free rate, that is 5.25. And again, the data what we have collected backhand, it has got the meaningful outcome which we discuss as we go along. So we have been given the portfolio's return, the standard deviation, and the total risk. So the last column is about the RF, risk-free rate, what we have considered here for the calculation purpose. So the risk-free rate across all three schemes is 5.25, because when we compare our mutual fund performance evaluation, we have to consider same risk-free rate because we cannot vary the risk-free rate. If it is varied, then our analysis will not be accurate and measurable enough. So using the common data of its nature, you have to, because external things and internal things do matter in the calculation analysis. So we'll go ahead with it. Now we have to calculate Sharpe's index and the trainer's index, and we have to rank the mutual funds accordingly. Okay, well, so we do this way because in the next class I'll just do it on the blackboard and I'll update you. But right now here we have got the facility of this MS Excel and MS Word that we have incorporated for solving this exercise. So now SBI mutual fund is equal to, that is Sharpe ratio SR, RP minus RF divided by standard deviation of P. So RP is a return on the portfolio, RF is the risk-free rate, and RP is the standard deviation, this is the total risk. So when we substitute this 17.40, 12.07 minus 5.25, this is what the difference of your say returns, and divided by the total risk, that is the standard deviation 9.42. So when we simplify this, our risk, that is Sharpe ratio for SBI mutual fund will be 0.72. So this is assumed to be a good ratio, but we have to consider the other two for the comparative purpose. So this is regarding SBI, that is 0.72. The next is SDFC fund. So here also your SR, that is Sharpe ratio, is equal to RP minus RF divided by sigma P. So when we substitute the value which were given for SDFC, the return was 13.02, the risk-free rate was 5.25, and the standard deviation was 8.91. So when we compare this and when we try to solve, our result will be 0.87. So this is the Sharpe ratio for the fund 2, that is SDFC. So finally, we come to ICICI Mutual Fund, wherein the fund return is 10.94 and the market return is 5.25, and the denominator is that is the standard deviation of your portfolio is 7.05. So when we calculate this, when we simplify this, the SR will be 0.80. So this is how the mutual fund companies raise and reflect the NAVs in their values. So what we have to do now, we have to look at the ratios. So ICICI mutual fund has got a Sharpe ratio of 0.80. Then when we go back, your HDFC fund has got Sharpe ratio 0.87 and the SBI has got 0.72. So when we go to the interpretation on your Sharpe index. Sharpe ratio says the highest among the available alternative will be the preferred one. So here, when we give a rank, so the rank one will be given to SDFC because it has performed well. Because 0.87, 0.072, and zero point 0.8. So your SDFC is better. So it is the first rank. So when it comes to SBI, 0.72 and 0.80. So when we do the computation, it will be 0.80. So here it is zero point 0.8 and zero point 0.7. So this will be the second one. And lastly, this is the third with the lower Sharpe ratio. So this is what we do. And even in the exam, even in the question paper, you will be given this type of a data. And using this type of a data, you have to compute and you have to rank the mutual fund AMCs accordingly. So this is with respect to only Sharpe's index. Similarly, we do it for trainers ratio. So now over here, there is a slight change. Instead of total risk, we take up only systematic risk. So SBI mutual fund. So it is RP minus RF divided by beta of your portfolio. So when we do the analysis, so it will be 2.25 for Axis fund. So RBI it is 6.87. And when it comes to ICICI, it is 6.11. So we have to look at the given data, and we have calculated also the values of it. So now what we have to do again for this ratio also, we have to make a ranking. So again the highest one, so this is the highest, again the one goes to SDFC, then 2.25 and 6.11. So this is the second again, and finally this is the third one. So when we compare both the ratios, the Sharpe ratio and the Turners ratio, so it was obvious the ranks are consistent. SDFC has got first rank in both Sharpe as well as in Turners ratio because of its higher Sharpe ratio and higher Turners ratio outcome. And followed by it is the ICICI, that is second position. And again, it is uniform. And lastly, it goes to the SBI. So we could make our conclusion based upon these true ratios that your mutual fund company SBI is not doing well, and if you don't do well in the long run, the performance evaluation may not be viable, because as long as you are trying to deliver the bare minimum return, investors will be happy. But the moment you start giving some negative returns and all, then there will be a problem as such. So in this example, we didn't had any ambiguity of ranking and selection. It was straightforward. But probably in the future exercises, in the future examples, we may get first rank to the different funds. Then what would we do, or what we must do in order to overcome this ambiguity or difficulty? So we carry on with this exercise today, tomorrow, and in the next class, on Monday's class, we will check the other examples and how do we rank and rate the performance evaluation of the mutual fund companies. So this is all about the performance evaluation. So we'll close the session over here, and later we will consider a few more example for our discussion purpose. Thank you very much.